to do our kombucha, I went ahead and I drained the tea leaves out of our tea. This is some other tea that I brewed this afternoon, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do with that. The way I do my kombucha is I do a double ferment. This goes into my ale pail, which is where I contain my SCOBY and the kombucha that's ready to get bottled. I'm going to put this into the ale pail last. What I'm going to draw off is the already fermented kombucha, and I mix it with my berry tea. Some people use things like Grolsch bottles, which we do. We also reuse other bottles. And I do about a 1/4 to 3/4 new fresh brewed tea to the old fermented kombucha tea. The new tea and the tea that's going into the ale pail to feed my SCOBY has sugar in it, plain old white sugar. And the ratio of tea to sugar is 1/4 cup sugar to 1 quart of tea. So each of these have a 1/4 cup of sugar. This has a 1/2 cup of sugar, as it's a 1/2 gallon. All right, so I've got our fresh brewed fruity tea all in the bottles. The next step is to take off the kombucha that's already brewed from the pail and fill it up the rest of the way. After I do this for each bottle, I'll cap them, and these caps actually do provide enough seal that you'll get some carbonation to the beverages. The Grolsch bottles produce a whole lot better of a seal though. The next step is I'm going to let this sit out at room temperature for 2 or 3 days, depending on how hot it is. If it stays kind of cool because it's spring right now, then it may take 4 or 5 days, but generally it's going to be in that 2-3 day mark, and then I'll stick it in the fridge where it'll be perfect, ready to drink on a nice hot summer day. The one final critical ingredient for making kombucha is the SCOBY. Now, to get your SCOBY, you need to find somebody that makes their kombucha. They're going to have the SCOBY, and what they can do is they can divide it up. SCOBY looks like, in all reality, it kind of looks like a big pancake looking thing, and as it gets older it develops layers. So mine, I believe, is probably about this thick right now. So if you live locally and you need a SCOBY, you know where to go. Otherwise, you can actually order these things online and they'll get mailed to you in the mail, and what you'll do is you'll put them in probably a quart jar to start with some fresh, properly portioned tea to feed it, and you're going to feed that SCOBY for a little bit, and it's going to be slow to start, but once you get a nice big thick SCOBY, you make kombucha really fast. That's how I do kombucha. All right, I've got all my kombucha ready. It's going to sit out for a couple of days, then I'll put it in the fridge. This is my tea to feed my SCOBY. It is living in here. Some people have fun with their SCOBYs and they end up naming them. We had friends that named their SCOBY Obi-Wan the SCOBY. And you can get creative and have fun with it. That's feeding the SCOBY. This is my last bottle from my last batch that I made. See, there's carbonation in this one. Let's give it a try. The interesting thing about kombucha is, even if you over ferment it, it never goes to waste, because you can always use it as a kombucha vinegar, and it actually makes a great marinade or for salad dressings, different things like that. And it's basically a vinegared tea because it gets it basically gets over fermented. So here's to your adventures making kombucha. Ah, it's perfect. Very good.